Gentlemen, welcome everyone to the 2024 Kickstart Invitational Podcast, episode 10, where we dive into the heart of the Kickstart Invitational. I'm, of course, your host, Kyle Steffi, alongside Justin and Carter McPhail. In each episode, we'll be bringing you exclusive insights, player profiles, behind-the-scenes interviews, and expert analysis of the latest developments of the Kickstart Invitational. Justin Carter, how we doing?
Doing well, Kyle. Thank you.
Pretty good today, Kyle.
It's the first episode that we've ever had daylight while recording. It's a nice change of pace.
That's accurate. I'm still at work, probably partially because of that reason, but that's fine.
It's neither here nor there.
We carry it.
Perform. Yeah, we're here to perform. Today, obviously, special guest, Tricky. Jake Transit, as though people who know him, his mother named him, but we call him Tricky on the pod here. Rookie of the year, 2.4 handicap, and has been engaged since the last Kickstart. Tricky, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, fellas, for having me. I am ecstatic to be on.
I know you were jacked up to be on when I did my first pulse check after like episode 2, so I'm excited to have you on here, Trick.
Yep, we had a nice little text exchange about the pod, and I was fired up.
So, first question, same question we've been giving everybody. What does the Kickstart mean to you, Trick?
I think just it's the way I kind of got incorporated into it means a lot. I was in a crazy time in life. I was driving home 8 hours after living in Tennessee for a year and had to pack up everything and move. And Carter called me on the drive and was like, "Hey, we need one." I was thinking like probably 14th or 15th on the list, but he was like, "Hey, we need one." So I was able to make it happen. Unfortunately, I missed the draft, but was able to make it happen. And now it's just kind of a staple in my summer. So it just means it's a big moment in my summer now.
You did show up that Sunday night, though, right? You missed the draft.
No, I had to come meet you guys at the first tee time the following morning.
Met at the mines.
Yeah, I drove straight to the mines.
Yeah,
I didn't unpack my car even from the drive, so my car was still full to the tits.
I do remember that, actually. You are right.
Yeah,
that's absurd.
Before we get into the statistical profile and that sort of stuff, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where'd you grow up? When did you start playing? Sort of, and then tell us what you're doing now, because you're moved back to Michigan. You're not living and working in Tennessee anymore. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I grew up in Royal Oak, Michigan. My parents grew up there as well. They're high school sweethearts. So me, my younger brother and older sister grew up in Royal Oak, and then played college hockey at Ferris State with Carter and Brendan and Fetty. And then I decided halfway through senior year to take the trip to Orlando and go play for the Solar Bears. I think that kind of made me realize when I was there, being in the sun every day, how much I was kind of ready to be done with hockey and maybe get a job. And because called my dad after a game and was like, "Yeah, I think it might be time to be done when I'm just worried that I'm going to get hurt and not be able to golf." So that was maybe time. Definitely happy with that decision. I moved to Tennessee for a business opportunity, you could say, with a family friend. He owned about 7 or 8 Jets Pizzas down in Tennessee. He wanted to get my younger brother and I involved, help him run some stores, and eventually get involved in ownership. We were there for almost a year, kind of went badly south. Just went bad. So yeah, packed up, had to move back here. I'm in Lake Orion now. My fiance and I recently moved in together.
Congrats.
And I am currently working for a staffing and recruiting company, and it's actually going great, and I enjoy it a lot.
Little behind the scenes here. Tricky invited to connect me on LinkedIn this morning. Turns out he's a competitor of the company
Yep.
that I work for.
I was doing my due diligence, getting on LinkedIn, getting on Twitter.
Making connections, growing your network.
It's a good move. It really is.
Keeping your eye
Yeah.
on Kyle and what he's doing. keeping your friends close and your competitors closer.
Or if you guys are hiring and you pay more than what I currently make, I'll jump ship. Jay, why don't you wiggle us into the statistical profile? If that's a flag, we're gonna be in for an episode today, fellas.
Listen, they're not sponsoring the podcast.
Hell
all right.
no.
Yeah, leave them out of
Well,
this.
This is on company
Well-
equipment, I suppose, but it's neither here nor there.
That's more what I was getting at. That's
Anyway, we got Jake
Moving
Transit
on.
with us today. Last year he played as a 6 handicap, sort of like he described, was, busy with work, busy with hockey. Once that went away, his handicaps come down, right? Kyle talked about it a little bit. 2.4 index right now. Said his favorite course on the trip is Pilgrim's Run. We'll maybe get into that a little bit later. Favorite course he's ever played is the Copperhead course at Innisbrook. He's going to be eligible for captaincy next year, as you guys know. As far as golf updates, now you can find him. Actually, this is not going to be his first YouTube appearance. He's been frequently featured on a golf YouTube channel called Slapshot Golf Company. Couple guys actually reached out to me. I wasn't able to connect them with some people up here for the Red Wings outing up here, but they're grinding. They're starting this company, and Tricky's got a good record. It seems like it's a statistical anomaly. All these guys on the losing teams have such good career records. 0-1 in singles. We all know how that went. Scoring average is third of all time. So came out in his first season and played really well. His strokes gained total is first all time. Just outclassed the field really last year with just great play, and then also using his dots to his advantage and being just a great team player. So as far as stats go, Trick is tops of the tops in almost every category that we have, every category that I'm capable of producing, and he's a phenomenal player. So
Carter, why don't you give us the rundown on the personality? What's the locker room guy in Tricky when you're looking at him on the draft board and potentially looking at a guy that could easily go 1-1 if things go awry with Jay here between now and June?
Yeah, I was upset that the way it shook out last year that I didn't get him on my team, and Preston kind of gobbled him up during the shuffle last year. He's
didn't
not
seem
a
too
guy
upset
that
night of, just saying.
he's not a guy that says a whole lot in the locker room, but he mutters under his breath some one-liners that, I mean, if you're sitting next to him, you're gonna lose it, right? I mean, I can remember sometimes at Fair State where we're getting reamed in the locker room, and you just kind of take a quick peek over at Trick, and he just I don't know if the guy has a serious bone in his body, which is good and bad. Just on the golf course too, he's a guy that he's very competitive. I would say his biggest opponent is himself and his own mind. He gave up a couple holes playing against me last year where, certain clubs have been going really good, and he decides, I'll just change it up. Why the heck not? and get away from maybe the driver for the driving iron, and wondering why he's not finding the fairway anymore. So, like I said, he's a competitive guy. He doesn't say a whole lot, but at the end of the day, he's gonna give you those results coming down the stretch.
Yeah, you touched on his humor a little bit. It's, we got some guys on this trip that are maybe volume shooters that like to throw some stuff up and see what they get. And Tricky sort of falls on the other end of the spectrum over there. He's real efficient with his chances. he's gonna get some good stuff off, but he's not wasting a lot of words in the locker room on that sort of stuff. So yeah, Cart, why don't you hit us with our first ad, and then when we come back, you can do a little rapid fire segment here with Tricky, and we can get to know him a little bit better.
Yeah, like always, everybody, this episode is proudly sponsored by Dunham Sports, your ultimate destination for everything golf related, whether you're into hunting, fishing, or loving every day. Dunham's has everything you need to elevate your game on the green. Swing into action with Dunham's exclusive offer. Use code Kickstart24 to score an incredible 20% off on all golf gear and accessories. Exclusions may apply. From clubs to balls, apparel to accessories, Dunham's has you covered with top-of-the-line equipment at unbeatable prices. Don't miss out on the opportunity to take your golf game to the next level. Visit Dunham's in-store or online at dunhamsports.com to shop the latest and greatest in golf gear. Dunham's, where every swing is a hole-in-one.
Timely
Clever,
switch
clever.
up from the ad from the Dunhams, sir. Surely.
It's
So-
unforeseen. Unforeseen. We
so,
let them put their ads up.
They're in control.
Dunham's.
Tuesday.
So last week's rapid fire segment with Cody went really well. I thought it was a fun way to get to know Cody a little bit more of a quieter guy of the group in general, and I think Tricky fits that bill as well. Figured we'd run it back on the rapid fires here. So Carter, we've got 20-ish questions, mostly golf related.
54
Carter, take us
questions.
away.
All right, Jake, are you ready? 11
Yeah.
minutes on the clock.
11.
What?
We gave Cody like 3.
11 minutes on the clock, 29 questions. Okay, here we go. Better time to play golf, spring or fall?
Spring.
Lowest ever 18-hole score.
This past summer, right at the end of the year, 70, which was
Where
even
do you
par.
play-
I was 70 at the course. I've still never broken par. All right.
Where do you play your most golf?
Indian Wood Country Club.
Favorite course you've ever played?
Innisbrook at Copperhead. Copperhead at
Favorite
Innisbrook, one
course?
of those.
Favorite course in Michigan?
That I've played or just in general?
Just in general.
Probably. I can't think of the name. What's the cool one that I haven't played that you should have taken me to but didn't?
Traverse City Country Club?
Arcadia,
Oh, Arcadia, yeah.
Oh, the South Course.
Arcadia
Yeah.
South.
Who's your favorite professional golfer?
Oh, probably Homa.
How often do you get to play golf?
In probably 3 days a week in the summer.
All right, and what is your favorite part of your game?
I guess driving.
Who is in your dream foursome? Golf
Me,
related.
Me, Homa. Let's go Michael Jordan and Jack Clement.
Wow. In honor of Women's Appreciation Month, who is your favorite woman of all time?
Wow. Damn it. We'll go my fiance.
All right, that's a little bit
Good
off
answer.
topic.
Good answer.
Not a bad answer.
Favorite
Don't show this to
partner
your
you-
mom.
Favorite partner you've played with at the Kickstart?
Jesus Christ. I played with Preston twice, I believe, and then let's go Fetty, because I played with Fetty twice as well.
Okay, which player do you most want to be a partner with in 2024?
Working on Fetty's anger a little.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Which player would you most want to be a partner with in 2024 at the Kickstart?
Kyle.
Ooh. Who would you like to play in singles in 2024?
Play against?
Yes.
Depending on where the handicap's at, Justin again.
What do you do when your wife is reading a book in a chair right next to you?
Play Xbox.
Who will use the best? Who will take the most shits in the Airbnb in 2024?
Fucking me. Sorry for cussing.
Who's gonna win low net in 24?
You,
Who's gonna win MVP?
Justin.
Who will be the Carlisle Frazier unsung hero?
Did Fetty win it the first year?
Kyle won it.
Fetty.
And then who is going to win the 2024 Kickstart Invitational? The Golden Harps or the Conductors?
The Golden Harps.
Not bad.
All right, that concludes our
Yeah.
rapid fire segment with Jake Transit. Sorry for cussing.
Not
Point
bad.
0.07 seconds away from a perfect 420 on that.
Would have been
Unlucky.
nice.
A lot of guys on
Unlucky.
our trip would be excited.
Moving on. All right, we're going to a new segment. We've got there's a lot of these podcasts, that inspired our original founders. Not everybody needs a podcast segment. So we're just gonna dive in. We're gonna do one ourselves. We're gonna draft. We're gonna have 5 rounds. We're gonna draft our top 5 things in golf here coming up. Cart, why don't you do our Alliance Beverage ad, and then we'll get to our top 5 things in golf draft.
Today's special segment is brought to you by Alliance Beverage. Now, corporate might have caught wind that they help sponsor our trip, but little do they know they're also supporting this podcast. Alliance Beverage is a local beer distributor in Traverse City, Michigan, and they're all about enhancing the quality of life for everyone they're touched, from their associates to their customers, suppliers, and the community at large, and most importantly, their support for the Kickstart Invitational. Because let's face it, what's a great round of golf without some great beer to go along with it? So here's to Alliance Beverage, fueling the never-ending pursuit of great golf and even greater friends. Cheers.
Cheers. So, like I sort of touched on before, we're gonna draft here. We've done a random order. We're gonna go snake draft style. So, the random order sponsored by randomizer.org is gonna go Kyle with the first pick, followed by myself, and then Jake with the third pick, and Carter with the 4th and 5th picks, and then reversing that order as we go. So we're going to draft our top 5 things in golf. Really, it can be anything, from something you see on TV to something you do on the course. All these things go into it. Kyle, start us off. Your number 1 overall thing in golf.
Yes. So my 1-1 was an easy one for me. I'm just going with the Kickstart Invitational / golf trips with the fellas. No brainer to me. It's what I look forward to most every year. If it was all or nothing for me, I would bought just the Kickstart. So Kickstart 1-1 was a no brainer choice for me. Could just be a me thing, but
Yeah, you
It's
got to
respectable.
respect it. Yeah. Buddies golf trips with the fellas is definitely one of those great things. For the second overall pick, I'm going to go in the opposite direction here, and I'm just going to say shooting your career best. Shooting the best round you've ever shot. That's my top of the top things, that you can do in golf, whether you're just getting into the game or have been playing for years and years. Anytime you break your PR is an awesome thing. Jake, what do you have?
I'm gonna go, I guess, another kind of different direction here, and I'm gonna say the Masters.
that was on my board.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a great
It is a
pick.
great pick. That's it. Is my turn. With the fourth pick, I'm gonna go with hitting a big shot when you're playing with your buddies. As we talked about last week, I hit it in the hole on my first hit on a par 3, and I don't know if it would have been as exciting if I didn't have, Logan there with me to see it and almost feel like he was more fired up than I was. So I thought that was
Are we gonna beat around the bush? So is it a big shot or is your answer a hole in one? What's your pick here?
I'm just saying the being there with somebody to see a big shot.
All right.
And I think about anyways, moving on.
I respect it. Number 5. Number 5
Number
overall.
5, I'm gonna go with hitting your ball into the forest, hearing a big knock, and seeing it come shooting back out.
It's a good pick.
That was on my
It's a
board.
great pick. That was on my board as well, for sure.
All right. I'll go. Gonna get a little specific here. We'll go watching a 15-footer roll in for birdie.
Ooh, lovely. You've already hit a great shot in there. You're paying it off, watching it just trickle right over the front edge into the middle of the hole.
I think there's something to be said about a 10+ footer for birdie.
Yeah, that's a great feeling. I'm gonna go with just an ice cold beer in a glass after the round with your boys, with whoever you played with, if you like them, whoever you got at the course that day that you like to sit around and hang out with. But an ice cold beer in a glass after the round, that's going to be my number 2 pick, number 7 overall.
It's a good pick. Also on my board here. I didn't have a 10+ foot birdie because I don't know if I've ever done that shit. But I got 2 picks here, right?
Yep. You're going number 8 and 9.
Yep. I'm gonna go with food at the turn. I'm like 2-4 here.
Yep, nothing like a meat missile.
Meat missile, chicken Caesar wrap, frozen Snickers, you name it.
Yeah, stopping for something between 9 and 10.
Shit
That's
slaps.
the boost.
With my 3-1, I'm between a couple here. I'm gonna go with a breakfast ball off the tee.
Ooh. Is nice. It is nice.
Not utilized at the Kickstart.
No, but they're
Not
nice when they
utilized
are
at the
utilized.
Kickstart, no. Yeah.
Although a lot of
Agreed.
us would have liked it.
I'm gonna go with playing the same ball for the entire round. Fresh ball out the pack on the first tee and never having to go in for ball number 2. Playing the same ball for the whole round.
I've never done
Yep.
that.
I played 55 holes in a row with the same ball and finally lost her.
So
Kyle, you have for sure done.
Yeah, there's a group of guys here at the club that I work at that have started trying to continuously play the same ball for as long as possible. And they'll take their Sharpie and just put a little dot on the ball for every round they go. I think last year the record was a 9-dotter. This guy had played it 9 consecutive 18-hole rounds with the same ball.
Was it round? Was it a ping pong
It
ball
was
by
round.
the end?
It wasn't still white. There was a lot of scuffs. This thing definitely wasn't flying very true by the end of it. But I think, I think a 9-dotter is the top.
Wow.
Is the record here.
It's tricky.
Does that mean it's my turn? All right.
It is your turn.
Let's go with getting a new putter or new clubs, I guess. Anything really.
It's on my
Any
list.
new club.
It was on my list as
like
well.
it. Yep. I've got it. I've got it on here too.
Tricky, when was the last time you got new clubs? And what were they?
Recently actually switched driver brands. I had the Stealth for a while. the sim before that, and I just switched to the TSR 3 Titleist.
Wow.
Respectable. Respectable. You probably smoke Marlboro Lights too. Cart, what do you got for your third round pick here?
I got the on the tee one liner. Or any one liner around the course, the Scott Heberisms, as we call them. You know, the one specifically I have here is when you're playing with someone and they chunk it and you get to say, "Oh, big ball got in the way." Nothing slows the club down like the earth, something like that.
Things of that nature.
Things of that nature. You know, hitting one right down the fairway and turning around to your group and saying, "Never saw it." Anything along those lines, I love those.
Yeah. Shout out
and then-
Scott Hebert, my boss up here. If he's still watching these, I think he quit after about episode 3, but he'll get a chuckle out of that.
And then I got
Round 4.
I got cleaning your clubs in the kitchen sink.
That was on my list.
There's something about it. I mean, I think we can all remember year 1 at the Kickstart. By we all, I mean me and Justin, and those listening back home. We had about 115 irons and wedges sticking out of the sink at our first Airbnb. Everyone getting everything all scrubbed up right before the tournament started, and nothing like your mom getting mad. Clean your clubs in the kitchen sink.
I like it. I like it a lot. Jake, round 4.
Okay. What is it? 5? So 2 more picks?
Yep.
All right. Let's go pulling up to the course for a round in the car.
Mm.
While we're there, which course on the Kickstart did you like to drive in the most?
I mean, Pilgrim's Run has a cool drive-in.
It does.
It does. I think compared to really anywhere, Pilgrim's Run has a pretty sweet drive-in.
Yeah, I think the drive out of Diamond Springs, like no offense to Diamond Springs, I like hanging out there. It's my favorite. Well, that's a lie too. It's my second favorite, maybe probably tied for second, probably third favorite. But it's one of my favorites on the trip for sure. It's top 3. But that drive in is so early that like you're not paying attention. If you're not at the wheel, you're probably dozing off a little bit, you know, falling forward into your coffee kind of. The drive out, I think, is pretty cool in the sunset, except for it's, you know, a lot of straight lines, just cow fields everywhere. But, you know, just watching the sunset on the drive out is good on that one. The drive in to Pilgrims, I agree with you, Trick, is the best. The drive in for sure. For my number 4, I'm gonna go with hitting a perfect shot after the group in front of you lets you play through.
Oh,
So
that's a good
you
pick.
know, you pull up on a group that's sort of been waiting for you on the tee. Maybe you couldn't see them from the green, didn't know they were going to be there, and you know, you pull up and they're sort of waiting there, kind of waving you up, saying go ahead. And you know, in my case, you know, usually I'm playing from maybe a tee back from where they're playing, so they're up there a little bit. I don't go up and talk to them or anything, and tee up and just piping one right down the middle, or flushing an iron right onto the green while they're waiting for me to play through, and then kind of slowly cruising past them. Thanks guys, and seeing them like give you that nod of approval that, you know, they made the right choice by letting you play through. There's nothing, I mean, one of the probably the bottom 5 things in golf is shanking one or hitting a bad drive when somebody lets you play through. So, you know, flushing one when right after they let you play through has got to be on my list.
That's a great pick.
I did it today. It was awesome.
That's a great pick.
Really good.
Give
it to me, Kyle.
I cannot believe either of these two dropped to me to my last 2 picks. I was fully anticipating taking these earlier. With the 4-4, I'm just going birdie juice. Just birdie juice.
Respect.
I don't hit them often, and if somebody's got the juice to celebrate, I'm gonna be pumped about it. It's a good feeling. I also sit in the camp of I'm not good enough at golf to where like I'm not gonna not drink on the course. Whereas I feel as if you three lean towards the other direction in that. So I don't know if you guys would get this, but it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it on my list, but I understand people enjoy it. If this was a general top 5 things list, I think it's hard to keep that one off. Yeah, I respect it for sure. I think it's a good pick.
My last pick, I was thinking when I thought of it, it was more specific. It was playing the big booty mix out on the course with the fellas. I kind of slowly changed it to just a really good golf playlist while you're playing. Nothing's
Nice.
better than a song that hypes you up, a song that brings you down when you're low, and just everything in between.
For sure. I think bonus points if you can turn it down real low and it still hits.
Yes.
But then when a banger comes on, you can turn it up and the guys in the other cart are jamming along with you. That's
100%.
a mark of a great golf podcast or a great golf playlist for sure.
Either or.
As
Either or.
long as Lucid Dreams is on there, Fetty will be
Yeah.
happy. You can't play bad when that song's on.
Facts.
Last one for me, it's tough. I got quite a few that are worth honorable mentions. I think I got my top 4 that I was hoping to get, and was wondering to see which of these was last on here. I think for me, making a birdie on 18, just that feeling when when you step off the course that you had that great hole to finish. It's it's that one that keeps you coming back, right? You could have played terrible for 17 holes, but strung 3 good shots together and made birdie on 18 is pretty nice feeling heading back to the car for sure.
Certainly.
I'm gonna go back similar route to my first pick. I'm gonna go with the Ryder Cup.
Good
Yeah.
pick.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's a
that
safe
is
pick.
something.
It would have
I
been
would not-
criminal for it to be left off of this.
It got
Yeah.
on my list shortly after he said Masters. Um,
It's one of those things that you couldn't call this a comprehensive draft if you didn't have that on there. If you put the Masters on there and didn't include the Ryder Cup,
Yeah.
just we lose all credibility.
I'm gonna wrap it up with something that I didn't think was gonna get picked, so I let her slide. And it's something I'm really a big fan of, and I'm gonna go with fall golf. When the leaves are changing colors and it's starting to get a little bit cooler, it's not quite as busy out there. Just something about that cool fall air. Losing your ball in the rough because there's so many leaves around. That that's how I like to get down.
It's nice golfing in pants and a pullover too.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah. So we could go 2 ways of this. We could do honorable mentions first and then discuss the results after, or vice versa. But I did write everything down so I can spit them back out to everybody.
let's go down the results. Kyle, can you give us your 5 and then my 5, then Jake's, then Carter's?
Yeah. So my 5 were the Kickstart / boys golf trips, food at the turn,
Yeah.
the breakfast ball, birdie juice, and a good golf playlist featuring the big booty mix.
Formidable team for sure.
Justin had shooting your career best, cold beer after a round, which was, I think, the sneaky best pick of the draft. Same ball, using the same ball the whole round. Hitting a perfect shot after playing through, and a birdie on 18. Tricky had the Masters, 10 plus footer for birdie. Getting new clubs, pulling up to the course, and then closed it out with the Ryder Cup. Carter's, his 1-4 was hitting the big shot with buddies, an obvious nod to his hole-in-one.
Yeah.
Which congratulations for, by the way.
Thank you.
Hitting the ball that's just going straight for the forest, and it hits off a tree and shoots out into the fairway. That was a great one too,
Lovely.
actually. That was a great
Lovely.
pick.
The
Golf
old members
one-liners.
bounce. The old members bounce. They're calling it.
Golf one-liners, which Carter is second to none at. He's got as many of them as anybody. I will always say in fall golf, all these leaves want to be balls, because that's what Carter would always say. Cleaning the clubs in the kitchen sink in his fourth overall pick in the fourth round, and then fall golf, closing it out.
Yeah, spectacular. I think I don't want to psychoanalyze you guys at all, really, but I think your top fives maybe say a little bit about yourselves. We'll leave that up for the fans to consider. Hit us in the comments down below if you've got some thoughts, and give us your top fives down there while you're at it.
And by the comments, we mean just like the group chat for those who are in the group chat.
No, put them on the
No,
comments.
no.
Put your name on
YouTube
some takes.
comments.
All right,
You're
all
out
right.
here.
Put your name on some takes out there.
All right.
There's going to be at least 25 people that watch this.
This is true.
Show them what you're made of.
Like and subscribe too when you're at it.
Yeah, nobody
Yeah.
likes and subscribes this shit. We get all the views,
Hit the
but no,
bell.
none
Hit
of
the
them-
bell.
none of the
Somebody's
likes
got to
and
at
the
least give it a
subscribes.
thumbs up. Yeah, at least give it a thumbs up. It don't cost nothing.
Yeah. Get another finger rep in.
I mean, we got 3 people saying like and subscribe, but I've had 1 like on these videos repeatedly. And I know it's Justin, because he's also the only one that comments.
That's right. Cart, you have some honorable mentions that maybe didn't make your list. Give me a couple honorable mentions. Give me 2 of them to start out.
One that I shied away from because Kyle said food at the turn was, I said an Arnold Palmer, but more specifically the one in the brown bottle with the golf ball on top.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a classic. I got
84 grams of sugar in that, by the way.
yeah, that's the Russian gas
Yeah, that shit
on the golf
slaps.
course.
Sorry for
Um,
cussing.
I also have when the divot fits perfectly back in the hole.
Yes.
Whether it's a beaver tail or just a little landing strip, when you lay that sucker down and step on it and it looks like nothing ever even happened. I feel that in my jellies. And then I got playing golf with my brother at an expensive course. But the pro at that course knows him pretty well and comps the whole thing even for me.
That happens?
No?
Yes. Yeah, that happens.
I hope so.
That
What a
happens.
deal.
You can hit up Chase Bierbauer, Dan Henderson, and Brendan McLaren, and check in with them about our pre-Kickstart scouting trip last year if you want more details on something like that.
And then I got
Or if you
one
ever
last
come up this way, just hit me up. Hit my line.
I got one last one on my list here, and I have the shower after the golf course. We got that little bit of sunburn, sandy glaze going on.
Mm.
Oh yeah, and you just scrub a dub that right off. Get the sand out betwixt your toes. That's oh yeah.
And
That's
the other
on there.
crevices.
Respect. Trick, you got some honorable mentions as the sun
I
goes
do.
down behind you guys?
I do. Let's do this one might be controversial, and I haven't done it much. Let's do playing alone.
I'm with
extremely
you.
pro.
Pro playing alone for sure.
Never
yeah.
done it.
Almost prefer.
Wow.
It's hard in this economy, I tell you. There's a lot of people on those golf courses out there.
Even golf's gotten too big. We
You ever
gotta
play
tighten.
alone? You ever sign up to play alone and they just throw people with you? I'm sure, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is it
Yeah.
not as weird as it feels like it should be?
No, I
It
think
sucks.
Cody. It sucks, yeah. But I think Cody touched on it last week. It's one of those things that if they're like decent people, you can talk to them and chat them up for however long you're out there, and it's not so bad. Golf's kind of a game that is like that, I guess. You're not really playing against each other, so it doesn't get you don't get mad with them or anything like that, but
Yeah.
definitely can be touch and go. I've had good experiences and really bad experiences.
Kyle,
Slight
who
side.
did you play in the first round last year with? With Dan, right?
Dan and I were together the first 3 rounds. Yeah.
And who did you play against in the first round?
Against was Cullen and Cody.
Yeah, so you didn't really know Dan and you didn't know Cody. So how was that?
Fair.
That's different.
I mean, I had
Yeah.
beers with both of them the night before, but
I mean,
Yeah.
Were you talking about Zachariah walking up to the first tee with his glasses fogged up isn't the same?
who's to say? Sidebar from this conversation, though. I was talking to Parker Mitchell the other
We're
day,
in
and
a
he had his,
sidebar.
I guess it's sidebar to the sidebar then. Parker Mitchell, who has notably been scouted for future expansion of the Kickstart. He was telling me he went and played solo the other day, and he was playing music, and he was like, "Do you guys care if I play music? You know, just as a courtesy." But who in the world ever says no? These fucking guys said no.
Really?
They were like, "Yeah, we don't golf with music." And he was like,
I would have
"All
hit
right."
play. I would have hit play.
It's just that's how can you
I'd
even
been
say
like,
no?
damn, that stinks.
I would have been like,
Oh.
if I was those guys and like I don't play golf with music, I would have just been like, yeah, but just like not too loud because I don't normally play it with music.
Right, like I understand the stance of not wanting music, but like to tell a guy to turn
Yes.
it off is absurd.
Yeah. It
Did
ain't
they
that
tell him to
serious.
turn it off or did they tell him not to start it?
I don't know. I just know he asked and they said no.
Yeah, tune in next week for a follow up on that.
I had an issue too, being that I was new to the event and new to some guys. Even though last year the first tee I knew who I was playing with, but the guy on the first tee last year really rubbed me the wrong way.
Big
And
Red.
I had to keep my wits
Wasn't
about
playing
me.
with you, but yeah.
Are you guys
Actually-
supposed to be here?
Yeah, no, he
Yeah.
wasn't. Yeah, wasn't playing with what?
He's
Trick,
"Are
can
you
you-
guys supposed
can
to
you-
be here?"
Can you
Yeah, we are.
expand on that? Like, can you draw that out? Because I think Carter's told me about this guy just coming up, just like puffed up,
Were
like
you-
ready to
You've already gone
brawl.
off.
But yeah, I was off in the first group. I was probably
You
coming
were probably
up on
second
2
hole.
green when you guys
He
were.
he just pulled up essentially, right? And he parked his car. It was sitting there and just looked at us and goes, "You guys supposed to be here?" I had to, honestly, that's all really I remember because I walked away because I knew I would say, so I had to, yeah, I had to go.
Like literally group 2 was getting in their carts and
Mhm.
driving up the fairway. So like the 4 of us, me, Brendan, Trick, it was you and Fetty, right? So we were just all standing on the tee like looking at each other with the speaker was up there and the music was still playing because everyone had just left. And so we're waiting and like he's like, "Are you guys you're not supposed to be here." Like
I will
I
say,
looked at Trick and he like smiled and just turned his head and just like walked away. We were on a hill.
No, he
And
like
I'm like-
expanded on it too. He was like, "Our tee time is at 8:52 and it's 8:36 right now." And we're like,
I was
Yeah,
like, "Yeah, we
so-
have
Right.
we have these 3 tee times in a row."
This is starting to pull together some dots for me because you guys remember getting messages on your cart telling you to speed up and stuff.
"Mhm."
So I was doing the math on that while we were out there, and I'm like, yeah, we're a little behind. We're like maybe like 4 or 5 minutes behind pace from when we teed off, which when we got there and I talked to the guy in the golf shop, he's like, yeah, there's nobody in front of your times for about a half hour. So if you guys want to go warm up and then get started a little early, that'd be great. And so I remember us teeing off about 10, 15 minutes early in that first group. And then when Carter told me that, I'm thinking like, was that guy like late, super late for his tee time and like thought that we were cutting in front of him or something? And now that I remember getting all those messages, even though we weren't very far behind, I'm like, this guy behind these guys is calling the golf shop saying that we're playing super slow. And
Yeah,
that's
no, I
why
don't
like
blame-
calling repeatedly,
one
so
bit.
they have to send us messages.
I will say, thank God, McLaren was with us because you know him.
Mhm.
He'll just he does. He'll like, oh yeah, for sure, sir. Yeah, we got it. Thanks.
You're right. The only guy willing to like diffuse the situation and not, go right back at him. Cart's muted, but I think you make a good, yeah. Brendan
Yeah.
being there is probably a positive. You got any more honorable mentions you want to get in here before?
Yeah, I'll
think
throw
I
one
want
more
to
in.
talk a little about the upcoming season too, but we'll,
Yeah, I'll throw in playing with dew still on the course.
yeah. hmm Early morning dew, watching your ball bounce, and when you get up there, you has that little trail of where it rolled to. Yeah,
Nice and early.
putting on dewy greens is huge too. So cool. Kyle, how about you? You got some honorable mentions we haven't quite covered yet?
I have a couple. Dots are just up there. I love a bunch of dots on the
Handicap.
scorecard. Love a bunch of
Handicap
dots.
strokes. Yeah.
Nope, the dots specifically. The Golden Tee, the game, and bars.
Sure.
Typically enjoy it when it's there.
Getting a little
Um,
pricey these days, not gonna lie to you.
Certainly, but still fun nevertheless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if we would have had one more round, Tricky might have picked it, but maybe not. Taking a nap while golf is on TV. Little afternoon
Ooh.
golf nap is elite.
Yeah. Something I miss being in the golf industry and mostly watching golf in the pro shop. That afternoon nap with golf on TV, like windows open in your house, is pretty elite.
It's nice. Last one is when you either get up to the starter or just pay in the pro shop and they give you the courses wide open for your boys. Tee off whenever.
Oh, I got that on my list too. That's such a good feeling getting that starter speech, and then at the end he just goes, and nobody's teed off for about an hour in front of you, and you're about one of the last guys that are going to be on the course today. Just feels so nice.
Not that it ever really stresses me out when we're pressed either way, but
Mhm.
it's a nice statement. It's a nice little cherry on top.
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't actually change how fast or slow you play, probably, but does feel nice not looking back and seeing two carts parked there the whole time.
100%.
I got a couple on here. I have holing a bunker shot, and it's anytime you hit a bunker shot decently close is good. But watching one roll into the hole is pretty good. I got free tees in the cart or in the pro shop.
That's a good
For
one.
me specifically, I like it when they're free wooden tees, but any source of free tees is pretty good.
When your brother mails you
then-
some.
Yeah, for sure. And then when Tricky sort of touched on it, but anytime the weather's like 72 and partly cloudy, so you can play in just a polo and pants, is elite golf weather. Seeing a white ball against a blue sky is up there too. Kind of fits into the same category there. So
I'll float one more in,
yeah.
just because I've been on both ends of it, especially when I played against Justin. But driving a green, for those
Driving
that
the
don't know,
green's fun.
Justin
Yeah.
absolutely, after ripping my heart out on hole 9 to go up 4, ropes a drive on hole 10 at Pilgrim's Run. That's about 5 feet from the pin, and kind of just took my soul out of my body there.
Low key knocked it on
Yeah.
18 later on in the round too, but had no bearing on the match.
Yeah.
Just a couple things, Trick, that I want to touch on about the year coming up, the event coming up. Do you have any idea? Have you gotten any interaction from captains or special assistants that might give you a little idea about where you think you're going to go in the upcoming draft? Do you have an idea of where you think you should go, or you have an idea of where maybe you think you might go?
Nothing from special assistants. Normally, when the special assistants and I talk, it is geared toward UFC and stuff like that. So, but I did have a talk with Carter, whom I called just to chat, catch up, and that turned into chaos. But no, I have no indication of where I'm going, where I should go. Honestly, I've been playing in skins games with my dad and all his buddies since I was 16. So I know how valuable dots can be. I've lived it. And I've been on some bad end of dottage. And I mean, I think you can take anyone anywhere and stuff like this just based on how valuable dots can be. So
Yeah.
they can hurt.
It's
He's PR trade
don't
day,
know.
Kyle.
I didn't pay him to say it.
Where are you going? Where are you going? Yeah, no, dots are important.
They're
Yeah.
good. They are good. I don't know what to
They're
tell
beating
you.
around the bush, but he makes a good point. It's going to depend on, the captain's strategy and, do you go after the guy that you think is going to play better than his handicap, or are you going after a guy that's going to be super steady and,
I'll give you a good example. In Tennessee, my parents moved down there as well. We belonged to a club down there. Me and my dad has been, I mean, at his worst, he's been a 2 handicap. He's a really good player, always has been. I was at the time, I think, a 4 or 5. We played against 2 guys who were both probably 14, around that area. We
dangerous?
Well, they made about 3 like 70-foot putts on us in the round. So we go to a playoff hole. They made one of them was there in the playoff hole. So I actually had to make like a 15-footer to send it to another playoff hole, which I did. And then we go to the second playoff hole. It was a dead straight, pretty wide fairway, 400-yard par 4, which they both got a shot on. So I mean, we weren't winning that hole.
Yeah, I hear you.
So one of them
It's
made a par, we lost.
I've joked in the past that, people can have as many dots as they want. But if they're truly playing well and playing around that handicap, like that 10 to 14 range, I think is the most dangerous because that's a guy that can go out there and break 80,
Yeah.
fair, a decent amount of time, maybe not all the time, but when you play a guy that's closer to like scratch, right around scratch, they're not going to break par every single time. Just
Yeah.
the possibilities aren't as great with somebody with so few dots, and it's a dangerous thing being out there having to give up 6-7 shots per 9 holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to give one guy 12 shots one time and he shot 78 on me. So
Yeah.
Well,
Unlucky.
I mean, second round of Diamond Springs, me and Dan versus Tricky and Preston.
18.
People forget there is a tie on Tricky's record, and it ain't from
Yeah.
anybody else but the boys.
Yeah. Yeah. The fellas got out there and
While we're-
snuck up on them.
While we're at the topic of the dottage trick, we've asked a plethora of our guests. What do you think about the potential of the Super Dot team putting Fetty and Kyle in the same cart?
I actually
Um,
wanted to talk about that. Did we ever come to a number of shots they would need to beat Justin?
Did we leave off at 30? No, it's
20.
it was
I think
20.
it'd be a lot. I think it'd be a lot of shots.
No. Did I say that?
I don't think that's
No,
the
I
number
don't
we
think
said.
Justin.
I
Justin
think he
was-
said dot a hole.
A dot a hole in a scramble, like I
That's
feel
I
like
put
I-
it at a
Oh,
dot hole.
scramble.
I feel like I wanted to hover around 14. Like if you could have a dot on all the holes, maybe except the par 3s, but the shorter the holes get, the more advantage I think those dots are. Like imagine you don't have to give up any strokes to anybody, but they get to start 200 yards closer to the hole every time. Like sometimes they might hit a good drive and they might hit it 250 and in the fairway. Sometimes they're going to hit a bad one and only be 100. But imagine if you just had to give up 3,600 yards on the card all the time. That's
Yeah.
basically what you're talking about. They get to remove every shot from the tee. They're starting at 1 from their approach shot. Like the courses we play on the Kickstart are around like 6,400 yards. You're telling me that I have to shoot the same score as somebody and they're playing 3,600 yards closer than me? That's a tall task.
Nonetheless, it's a duo I'd love to see play together. And I think it should have a star next to it.
Oh yeah, it's top
I think
billing.
they'd be
I
effective in
mean,
the 4-ball format.
you think they could be effective in the 4-ball format?
Yeah.
I'm not going to answer that. I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. I know that we would have to have the ESPN Plus cameras out for featured groups on that one.
Who would
For
be
sure.
who would be the best pair on the opposite for us to go against?
Me
Maybe-
and Tricky.
That's tricky. What would be your answer there? Because I don't like
They
that
would
one.
need more dots.
I disagree. I think it'd be.
For pace
I
of
think
play.
Relax.
Easy.
I think it would have to be
are they
like
getting all their dots?
2 mid handicap guys and they probably need
Cody
to not
and
play.
Dan?
Is that fair?
Preston and Cody, maybe.
And they need to not play well though.
I'd prefer not to go up against Cody, just as a blanket statement.
I would like to
Motherfuckers
play
home.
around with Cody.
Bulletin
actually.
board material. Well,
You afraid of Cody?
okay, so Trick, the way you're thinking about that is, what's the best team for them to be able to beat, or the most compelling match?
Oh, I said be able to beat.
Okay, then I definitely agree with you. Some of those guys that are at the higher end, some of the more volatile guys maybe on the trip. I think the Super Dot
Dan
team
and
is.
Esther?
The thing about it is, if the Super Dot team plays well, it's going to be hard for anybody to beat them,
Yeah.
right? 'Cause they're giving
Yeah.
up dots.
What's
The next 2 highest guys are Preston and Mike, maybe, and they would be giving up at least 8 dots, still 4 aside to Kyle and Connor.
do people get more than 18 on this trip? No.
In
Not
the
in
past,
matches.
no.
Okay.
Which is a rule
Not-
I'd like us to just talk about later on, but that's a future conversation for a future day.
We'll take that off. We'll take that offline, because that is in discussions currently. But in the matches, 18 has been the max. But also last year the lowest handicap guy was 0, so it was not as big of an effect. We're taking away maybe 2 dots in the match for the maxes. Their individual net scores are always calculated with their full handicap. This year, if I'm coming as, if I didn't play another round, I would go into the mines as a +4. And so then I think the discussions would definitely be, should they get more dots than that? And I would be on the side of them having more than 18 dots. Although I'm not super comfortable with them getting 2 dots per hole. But yes. The rest of
Kyle,
that discussion
how big
can
would you be
found in the
swinging if you were
members only
standing on a
feed.
tee knowing you had 2 dots? Or would you
This
just be,
might sound crazy. I would be the most conservative golf.
Keep that
I would
tempo.
be.
That tempo you got?
It would
just
I
plunk
would
it
just
and
be
plunk it?
thinking dunking up and down that fairway.
Try to make 5 for 3?
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's the smart thing to do, for sure.
Yeah.
That's also just I've discovered what good golfers do anyways, just like play good golf shots always. And it took me until Pilgrim's Run to figure that out.
Yeah, good golfers do hit good shots mostly.
I mean, in the sense that you're
Unbelievable
250
concept.
out, you don't have a 250 in the bag, so cut it up a little bit.
Yeah,
Dice it
yeah,
up.
sure.
Just
You're not
dice it.
Going up there.
I guess you're not full sending it at all times. Although I would argue that the the really, really good players are full sending it all the time.
Well, that's a little different.
Yeah, that is
I'm
a
talking the
different
in
game.
between. There's
You're
a
right.
step in between where
Yeah.
I'm at and where you guys are at here.
I don't got no 250 club in the bag. Except my
You
big dog.
don't? It's a lie. Both of these two guys on my screen got
Sure, got
at least 3 250 clubs in their bags.
3.
Um,
I got 2, and they both are Callaway Paradigm. No
hashtag
reaction.
Team Callaway. I don't know. Trick, I wanna ask you who's gonna be on whose team, but you know, you have no idea. Do you think the teams are gonna stay relatively consistent as long as Carter's a captain?
I have
You
been
think he's
thinking
gonna
about this, so I'm intrigued by
continue
his
to
thought.
try to go after the same guys?
With no McLaren, I think it could mix things up for Carter's team for sure.
Yeah, it does offer
He
some more
kinda
possibilities.
is Carter's staple as that higher middle handicap guy. He's not gonna have him, not gonna have him at his disposal this year.
My safety net. My co-conductor. My
He was
parachute.
1-1. He was the 1-1 both years, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That's absurd.
This is a Pro Cat podcast.
Ooh.
How do you feel about Chase as a captain as well, Trick? Would you be
I'm excited. I
Yeah.
honestly didn't get to talk to Chase enough as I wanted to last year. I think it's cool with the captain, so I'm excited to maybe be on his team.
I mean, according to the Brendan McLaren mock draft, you are slotted to go to the Golden Harps.
It's got a nice ring to it, Golden Harp.
It does. It really does.
Sounds nice when my rings bang off each other in my pocket. Jake, what do you say about the people who have accused you of milking it during the Rattling Bog in 2023?
What do you mean milking it?
Some people have brought it up that they don't believe that you were giving it your all in the all-day chugathon that was the Rattling Bog.
No, I'll always give it my all. The issue was I didn't have the drink of choice for myself. As you know, it's hard to find stuff for me because I hate beer. There's a lot of drinks I hate out there. I'm pretty particular when it comes to that. Normally just kind of your vodka lemonade guy, and I'm not gonna Rattling Bog with vodka. So I think we're gonna have to get probably on the high noon train this year and stick to that because that's what I need to succeed in the Rattling Bog.
Yeah, so we know a guy, and we have a great sponsor of this podcast that can help kind of navigate those unclear waters for you. So we'll
That's
get
what
you
I
in touch.
heard. That's what I heard.
I was going to ask you, what do you think about Twisted Tea?
No, I had a. You want story time?
We're here for
He
it.
goes, hey, no.
So I get migraines, so a lot of like the sugary stuff kind of crushes me and puts me out for the count. But
Me too.
I had a run in with Twisted Tea maybe my junior year. It was during the day. I was drinking those, playing beer die most of the day, and then we went to the bar, and then I had more, and then really next thing I know, I was in a car, basically drooling on the dashboard, and then I got dropped off at my now fiance's apartment because I was in rough shape. But I got dropped off 3 apartments down, but they're all kind of the same color. So I walked in, yeah. I walked into the wrong one, all the way upstairs to where her room would be, opened the door. There was no one in there, thank God. But I saw a dog in a cage. And I was like, I do remember being like, oh, that's not my apartment. So I had to turn around, find my way down the stairs over a couple apartments, and then yeah. had to get taken care of.
Oh,
I've been to this area that he's talking about, and I could very easily see how you could get turned around. You might as well be. It might as well be at hotel floor.
A maze.
These places were cookie cutters of each other.
Yeah. And that was all because of Twisted Tea. So they are good. Don't get me wrong, but they just
They're good.
Here's off the stuff.
They make me spin bad.
I don't blame you. I've had a run-in with Captain Morgan before, and he drove my ship one too many times, and I won't go back. So I get it. I get it. Carter, Justin, any final questions for Tricky here?
I don't have any more for Tricky. Thanks for coming on. Somebody reach out to Michael and ask him about the ban on Bacardi Dragonberry if you want another good story. But Trick, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for
if
having
Cart's got
me.
more questions, good for him.
Yeah, well,
Something
final
about
question
his
we asked,
hole in one probably gonna get asked here.
we we asked you before we hit record, and I'll put you on the spot here. 18 hole match play singles. Brendan McCallion versus Justin McCallion. Who you taking?
Okay, so Brendan McCallion is a fellow lefty, so that leans me towards him. Although we do have a long going feud where it's me and Justin against Brendan and my dad at 2v2 scramble we do every summer. So it's definitely not easy. Just because I know he won't take it to heart as much, I'm gonna go Brendan, and then Justin could just deal with it. So
All right,
we'll go
there you have
Brendan.
it.
Last question out of me, and I'll take us to the exit here. Blake Griffin, the comp last week. Like it, dislike it, or do you even know who Blake Griffin is?
Kyle, you know I'm a Pistons guy and a basketball guy. Of course I know who Blake Griffin is. No, I love the comp. I love the comp. I was hoping it wasn't current Blake Griffin.
No.
Kind of hoping you were more going maybe like prime Blake Griffin.
Clippers, Lob City, Blake Griffin.
Yeah, but nonetheless, I loved it. It was a good one.
Pistons Blake Griffin.
Caleb Williams was kind of a naughty comp too. I kind of like
That was naughty.
That was
Yeah.
Cody was in his bag with that one.
Yeah, that was caught me off guard.
Cody was good at those. All right, fellas. Tricky, appreciate you joining us. Ton of fun. It was fun drafting with you. Anytime you want to come back on the pod, we've got two big guests
Shoot
left
me a
that haven't been
LinkedIn
on.
message.
Yeah, shoot me a LinkedIn message. We can connect and network. But anytime you want back on the pod, you let us know and we'll have you back. But Carter, Justin, appreciate you guys always. Tricky, thanks again for joining. If you guys want to stick around next week, Justin has a big announcement. Justin, why don't you give us a sneak peek of what that announcement's going to be?
Yeah, so next week when we come back